He's like, so this is to bartend at these gay sex parties that I host, but you have to be okay being naked. You're going to have to participate in some way if you want your tips. And he's like, and that's the job, but like, would you be okay with that? I was like, yeah, of course. Because also I'm like a closeted queer kid who had just like discovered the glory hole at Excellent DVD on 13th Street and 6th Avenue, like during Welcome Week. And I was like, oh my God, all the dick you can suck. What a dream.
Welcome.
New York, New York. Truly is a visitor's place.
Still a few tickets left to my shows in Texas coming this weekend, and I'm doing Oklahoma City's Pride. I believe I'm on the lineup Saturday night at 8 p.m. You can get those tickets still. I added some shows, ashleygavin.com. And this will be the last quarantine episode that we release, I hope. That would be bad if there were another one. And so the audio quality is not up to the most recent audio quality, not just because of quarantine, but because of all of your guys' donations. We have a mixer, better equipment, better software tools. This podcast really lives off of the Patreon. Like 99% of what we make is on the Patreon. So thank you so much for donating. Consider donating $1. It really helps. Patreon.com/WHGS. You're funding people now. You're funding an editor, a producer, and me and Gara.
Also, Jaclyn, while you were finding your headset, we were just commenting how incredible just the little section of your house we can see.
Oh my goodness, thank you. It is a new rental because obviously coming out, I had some changes with my romantic situation where we had a house and now I live alone. And those are things that happen.
There we go. We're already in it. We know what we're going to be talking about. Since the listener can't see it, it's very much successful Hollywood person sliver.
Yeah, that's exactly what
stairs,
it looks like.
Which in and of itself is like, as a New Yorker, I'm like, damn, okay, stairs. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm like, you're a billionaire.
I wish. I had to move back. I was supposed to have a nose job next week, and I had to move it back because I am very much not a billionaire, and that money is not coming in time. So
congratulations on your nose job. Wait, can we talk about that? Because you've obviously gone through the steps, and I recently, as a child, I've broken my nose several times.
Sure.
And I had like come to terms with my nose being my nose, and like not really ever really knowing what it was going to look like, but having a family of like perfect nosed people by societal definitions. I don't want anyone out there listening being like, what's a perfect nose? Ashley, tell us what a perfect nose is.
It's like, come on, we all live in society. We don't have to like it, but we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah, right.
So recently, and I've been writing a bit about this, I was at an outdoor comedy show, and this is post podcast blow up. It's on a hip Williamsburg, like terrace, like community space in a high-rise Williamsburg building. I am feeling good. I'm going to do a set. I look inside at the building at this lounge that they have, and they have a ping pong table. So I'm waiting to do my set. I look over. Did I talk about this on the podcast already? I'm so nervous that I have.
You're going to repeat a story again. But Jaclyn, this is just for you because it's a good story.
And the time of like the breakdown of whether it's been talked about has actually been like an amazing teaser trailer to the whole thing. It was like a real act break where it was like, I look over at the table and have we talked about this before? It's like, no, what happened?
Oh my God, we're definitely talking to a producer. So I look over at the ping pong table. I go, ooh, ping pong. I go to walk in and I slam my face into a plexiglass window. It is not an open doorway. It is a plexiglass window. And
my God, you're like those crows on like those Windex commercials.
I am the crow, and all it took was ping pong to end my fucking life. And but I thought, oh my God, I've never heard about a woman walking into a plexiglass anything, like walking into glass. That seems like a uniquely male thing. And I thought, of course this is happening because I have the confidence to just assume that every door is open to me, including this ping pong. So that's how
what they mean.
That's the glass ceiling.
That's a very good joke.
I'm so
I don't want to
sorry.
step on that punchline. That was a good punchline.
No. Give me your punchline. We'll
No.
make it like a riff.
I was just going to say that's what they mean when they say, give me the confidence of a mediocre white man. It's like, I too can smash my face in glass.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know what? That goes first, and then we do the glass ceiling. If the
glass
listeners
ceiling.
at home will get the final
Yes,
version.
exactly. Perfect.
But anyway, we are very glad to have you here. You've already made clear that you're super successful.
Yeah, you've already done it. Okay. We get it.
No. I mean, it's weird because yes, like if you talked to me 15 years ago, first I would be very surprised that I was finally a lady. That would, like 15 years ago, me would be like, oh, we did it? Really? How? Oh my God. They just give you the pills?
Well, we're so glad you're here. You kind of said already what you do, but you're a showrunner for Dear White People, a very celebrated and beloved show on Netflix. Go check it out. If you obviously important, if you can't tell from the title. It won a GLAAD Media Award, so gay. And
it's very fucking queer. That's people think it's a race show, and it is. It's about politics and race and society, but it's also very queer. We have never had a straight man in the writer's room.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
In 4 seasons.
Really?
That's awesome.
I was the closest in my previous incarnation as a bisexual man, but I was also a bisexual man that was a gay escort for like a decade. So like not exactly.
There's so much I want to talk to you about.
It's gonna be a run-of-the-mill guy who sleeps with ladies sometimes.
Amazing. Well, we're so glad to have you here. We do introductions at the top just so you've made it pretty clear who you are. But if you're listening for the first time, I'm Ashley Gavin. I'm a comedian. I'm a cis gay white woman. She, her pronouns. Fuck Gara. I didn't come up with a... Usually for Gara, I have a fun, punny, rhyming kind of intro. Let me see if I can find it because I was just listening back to Remy's episode where I called you the cabbage patch with the bussy snatch, and I'm not sure that I can come up with a better one.
Cabbage patch with the bussy snatch is good. That's good.
Yeah, baby.
Love to slip my bussy in there.
This is the dream. This is already my favorite podcast.
Oh yay! I'm so glad. All right. Well, you look very soft boy over there, Gara.
You're like a paper boy, like a milk boy.
A milk boy. Yeah.
Or like a ball boy.
You definitely have very Newsies energy right now. Like I definitely feel like you're gonna go march and tell Mr. Pulitzer what he can do with his pace.
Extra, read all about it. Gara cancels Ashley. We call Gara the youth in the sound booth. They keep me from getting canceled. Gara, do your thing, Gara.
Great. Hi, I'm Gara. My pronouns are they, them. Listen, the other day I wrote down exactly how I identify, and let me see if I can list it all out. I'm a transmasculine, femme-leaning pansexual with a preference for women and tall, cis, anarchist, bisexual men. That's it. Someone write that down. Someone put that
too much.
Gara, if we had met 6 months ago, I mean, pre-transition. If only.
If only. Really missed it. 2 ships in the night.
A tale as old as queer time.
Yes.
I was about to do Mrs. Potts.
Do it.
No, I don't. No, I don't want to. Anyway, Jaclyn, do you mind doing your identifying information and your pronouns and things?
Of course. My name is Jaclyn Moore. I'm a trans woman. My pronouns are she, her. And it's like really still exciting to say that. I'm like still in the even saying it is euphoric, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my deal. Oh, and I'm bisexual, but only because that pansexual is definitely more accurate. But like labels and communities and wanting representation and blah 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 blah. I say as though I don't believe those things, but I'm just annoyed with myself as I say them.
You and I are on the same page. I hate it, but I do it.
I believe it deeply, and it is important, but then when I say it, I catch it. It's like anytime I unironically start to say Well, the thing about like my journey is, and then I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to leave. This is
because you feel
no, thank you.
you feel annoying. You feel like the caricature that people who aren't super open-minded think about queer people.
Oh, for sure. And it's also like I am that caricature, and like I think it's just being self-aware about being that caricature is like a real
What's
curse.
that like? I've never been like a cartoon of a person.
God.
So
Look, just because you have Spinelli from Recess vibes does not mean
no, not Spinelli.
Oh, I think it is. I think it's. But let's be honest.
No.
If Recess were made right now, Spinelli is for sure at least baby trans mask. Like, no question.
Totally has like an episode on the show where like they discover that they're trans masculine and like go to their parents and their parents accept them. And everyone's like, we're so happy for you, Spinelli. You're like, but you're still a stinker.
Yeah,
like,
it's
like
perfect.
Credits roll.
I think you might want to cut this out so you can go pitch it. The plus in Disney Plus stands for the plus at the end of LGBTQ.
So good. We need that Kevin McHale rim shot. But I gotta add that in we had Kevin McHale from Glee, and he was like, "Oh, will you add a rim shot to the soundboard and call it the Kevin McHale rim shot?"
I love that.
Well, let's get into it. I did not have gay sex this week, but I repeated a story recently for the first time, and now I'm super self-conscious about repeating stories.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about my first gay kiss. My first gay kiss.
Okay, great. I'm like already worried that you've already told this story.
I know.
Jaclyn, we've been doing this now. It's going on a year. We've been recording for over a year. And now, Ashley received the message. Ashley, you can take this out if you don't want to put it in. But Ashley received the message. Okay, great.
No, please keep listening. Please, thank you for fuck you, but also thank you for intently listening and giving me feedback and reaching out, blah, blah, blah. But also fuck you for being so critical. Fuck off. But also thank you.
There you go. Ashley received a message saying that she repeated a story. Jury's out if she actually repeated the story.
It's debatable.
But it's hard not to repeat stories. God, I'm like going back. I'm like calling my parents. I'm like, do you remember anything? They're like, we didn't know you were gay. I'm like, shouldn't have called you.
I know. Literally, I think about it in terms of chapters of my life. I'm like, this relationship, and like this period of my life. So I had kissed a boy in the summer after 7th grade, which is honestly, truly remarkable that I ever made it that far. I'm the gayest person you've ever met in your entire life. Jaclyn, if you can't tell, like everyone knew I was gay my entire life. So I kissed this boy. It was not what I wanted it to be.
In that it was a boy.
It just didn't feel magical the way that everyone had talked about. You know what I mean? Like I didn't get butterflies. I thought he tasted weird. I hated what he did with his tongue. Like it was just... he had pointy tongue and like kind of like just kind of really moving it around very fast. Pointy tongue is a lot.
It's interesting that like when you have your first kiss, a lot of especially boys will like really want to go for tongue like immediately. And it's like, whoa there, bud. You got to work your way up. You can't just start with tongue, because now it's like, I'm not doing tongue unless I've like brushed my teeth like 5 times and I'm like really ready to get down and dirty. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. And I am a big fan of tongue. Huge fan of tongue. We love tongue. Some people don't love tongue.
This is a pro-tongue podcast, and I think that needs to be clear. I think that
pro-tongue. Thank you.
We are pro-tongue on the pod, and we stand by it. And if you're not pro-tongue, get out of here. Yeah, it was just not good. And then going into 8th grade, there was this new girl. I know I had to have talked about the red sweater when I talked about this girl. Was the first girl that I ever had sex with.
Okay.
And I may have mentioned on a previous episode, you sick little fucks who pay attention to every word that I say, hanging on every word, go get a life. All right, so you may remember the red sweater. This girl, we let our guests name the people that we talk about on the podcast. I was in love with this girl. At the end of 7th grade, I saw her walking down the hallway on the last day of school in a red sweater with her hair curled, brown, curled hair. She was so smart. She was like the smartest girl in my class. Now she's getting a PhD. What do you name this girl? Or she's got it. She's like a teacher at like Harvard.
I named this girl Molly.
Molly's good. Molly's
she
good.
looks like a Molly too. She's got freckles.
Yeah, when you said when you said curly brown, I was like, that gives me real Irishy vibes.
Yeah.
I was just like, I saw her on the last day of school. I was like totally in love with her. But through all of 8th grade, all I wanted to do was kiss her. That's all I wanted in the entire world.
Sure.
I pray that I have not told this story.
I'm the worst podcast
Laura, what do you think?
Podcast host.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laura,
no, you haven't told it.
Okay. Every year on President's Day weekend, because I live in the city, I live in New York, we would go up to the Catskills to go skiing. And I could bring a friend.
Oh, okay.
And previously, it had always been a friend. But of course, now I want to bring Molly because I am in love with her. I am in love. You cannot love the way that you love when you're 13, 14 years old. You just can't.
So true.
Your brain is different. You're fucking stupid. That's why you're able to love like that. You've never been hurt. It's beautiful. I love her so much. I would do anything for her. She does not. Everyone knows, like I'm in the closet, but like everyone knows I'm in love with Molly, including the teachers. Everyone.
Why? Because you just were pretty like openly like
I'm
obsessed with Molly.
I'm a simp. I put chocolates in her locker on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
I was thinking like maybe like you'd like sometimes kind of like get nervous, but you're straight up like, please love me, dear God, you have to love me.
I'm very publicly trying to bang her, and the thought that I was in the closet is so funny to me because I am publicly in love with Molly.
Yeah, okay, got it.
She's just a friend I feel very strongly about.
She's my best friend.
I just love her so much, and I get jealous when she's with other people, but it's because we're friends, and that's what friends do.
Well, there were guys that were obviously interested in her too, and when you're in the closet, you just always, whenever the person that you're in love with goes to date somebody, no matter who they're dating, you're like, that dude's a fucking asshole. Like that dude.
Right.
I would do this about Molly. Just everything I did, whatever. She comes, I have been trying to kiss her for literally like 4 months.
Sure.
Playing the long game.
LOL, Molly's game. This is the film Molly's game.
This is what it's about.
I don't remember what that was. What's Molly's game?
But Molly's Game is a not amazing poker movie about a lady who ran a illegal poker game to like Hollywood actors.
Right, I remember this film.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a scene where they go skiing?
There's a weird amount of skiing in the movie. There's a weird amount of skiing. It opens with skiing.
No way.
It
actually?
She was a competitive skier. 100%. The opening movie is that she was an Olympic skier or qualifying, and then she gets into a horrible accident, and her like comeback is that she starts throwing poker parties.
You're so right.
What you don't know about me is that I was an Olympic skier, but instead of trying to win at poker, I'm trying to kiss Molly. So that is my story.
This really is Molly's game.
It's Molly's game. So I'm in love with Molly.
Well, we just isolated like 75% of our listeners. Like all of them are what the fuck is Molly's game?
Are your listeners not really into like minor works by like mediocre directors but very important writers?
Our listeners, this is for the real listeners who listen every week. If you come in occasionally for the Kevin McHale's, this is not the episode for you.
No. No, I once made a Blue Velvet reference, and I had like 5 people message me and be like, thank you so, like as if I was like, when I came out as trans on the podcast, I had people be like, thank you so much with the Blue Velvet reference. I had like cinephiles being like, I just like, it's just so great to have someone like you on the pod. I was like, thank you guys.
Okay.
Anyway, continue.
Well, I am more of a TV person than a film person, so I'm not going to get into any of the film references. But here is how I was trying to kiss Molly. We were in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat together, and I would straight up try and
This
kiss
is
her
too much.
in the green.
Who
Like
were
I would
you?
try and kiss
You were
her.
Elvis.
Yes, of course I was Elvis. We've talked about this.
This is your Elvis impression moment.
Yes.
But you have to do it. You've been talking about it for Ashley. Do
Wait,
it.
you have an Elvis impression?
My
Yes,
Elvis
she
impression is
does.
better than anyone's you've like those people who win the competitions in Las Vegas. Fuck them. I am the dark horse for
Hold it
that
up this
prize.
much and not do it.
Have to
You
do it
have
now.
to. You have to.
No, I can't. It's so
What?
embarrassing.
Come on.
I didn't practice. I didn't know this was gonna come up.
You knew that you
You
were telling
can't
a
claim
story.
expert status of Elvis
That's
impressions.
true, Jaclyn. That's true. You have been it's been like a year now of you saying
I'm
you
not
can
doing
do this.
it. I'm not doing
Wow.
it. I will,
This is Chekhov's Elvis impression.
I need look, okay. One day, I promise, one day. But today's not that day. Please, also, we haven't even we're not even skiing yet.
Okay, sorry. You're in Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I would like try and kiss, like literally legit try and kiss her. Like, because she would sit in my lap. She was like a brother. She would sit in my lap. I would like, we would like touch and like
She's
snuggle.
like in her brother costume, like her like big
wearing her beard.
Like, God, she's just beautiful. Go, Joseph, you know what they say.
But which brother was she? She was not one of the singing brothers.
It matters what brother she was.
So the singing ones, no, I'm not doing this. We must continue.
Keep going.
But yes, I am the Pharaoh and I am fucking killing it and
That's
stealing
hot.
the show. I'm trying to kiss her. I invite her out for the weekend. She comes. I know my sister doesn't listen to this and thank God. But like,
was this when you were in the bunk bed?
yeah, did I tell this story?
Shit, you've told this story.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
What
Jaclyn, how much time do you have?
See, I'm in it now. I'm clearing my schedule. I'm like, this is my day now.
Okay, well now I have to come up with another story.
Oh my God, but you have to leave this in because this is so funny. You have to leave all of that in. That was so
It's really funny.
Yeah.
And it's also funny because the start of the episode was literally you talking about telling a story again that wasn't this.
I know.
But also wasn't the one where somebody said I told a story again. Like separate from that. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's a motif. It's a theme.
You have a very successful showrunner telling you how good this is. You
And
have to keep that in.
And honestly, you're kind of pot committed at this point. That's a Molly's Game reference for the real Molly's Game heads.
You have to keep it in just for the Molly's Game references.
You know what would be fun is at this point you could stop and be like, do one of those like voice of God voiceovers that sort of was like, I'd be like, at this point we realized I had definitely told this story before. Here's our hard pivot.
That's it right there. That's the God voice. I'll put reverb on it. You want to really do a good do you want to
I'll do it. At this point in the story, Ashley discovered that she had already told this story. What follows is her pivot.
This is
That
brilliant.
was awesome.
Okay, so I think now I have to tell a super short story.
You got it.
I need a moment.
Take your moment.
Take your moment.
Gara, do you? Okay, I know one. I have one,
Okay, good.
but it's
Go.
not short.
That's fine. Just do it. We'll push you through it. We'll get through it quick.
Okay. Oh my God, I am just so sorry, Jaclyn. Okay.
Don't be sorry. I'm enjoying myself.
Camp. Now we're at camp. All girls camp. I'm 16. I'm a junior counselor in training, and I am not out. But I do have secret boyfriends who are really my girlfriends.
Got it. And
Great.
they're real.
They're real. So we live in tents, platform tents, like on wood. And like all summer, this girl, and you can name them, they're the troublemakers in the group. We have kind of like a difficult group. You know when there's like a difficult group?
Yeah, the 3 horse girls of the apocalypse.
Oh my God, that's a good joke, Gara. No, and by the way, this doesn't have to go in, but truly, like you all have my info at this point. Please never hesitate. Like you already are. You're all hilarious. Like send me scripts.
You.
I would love to help in any way I can.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really sweet.
But
we might leave that in. For you guys who got that
look at that
sweet moment. Look at that
you
sweet
said
moment.
That, yeah.
Jaclyn doesn't judge me for repeating my story. Maybe I'll write a script about it.
Honestly, so much of being in writers' rooms is telling the same story every single year to a different group of people. And sometimes, that's a lot of what the job is like, does anybody have a good blah, blah, blah story? Because this is what the character's doing. And it's like, well.
Totally. And if you need a really good kissing for the first time as a gay person in a bunk bed on a ski trip story, I have that story for you.
I know. I'm going to have to go find it in your back catalog so I can get the thrilling conclusion to...
Yes, if you would like to, Laura, figure out which episode that is. If you'd like to finish that story.
Yes. The thrilling conclusion to Baby Queers in Snow.
A very, very weird remake of Balto. But I'm in the two troublemakers. What do we call them?
Mandy and Brandy.
Mandy and Brandy.
Right.
That's beautiful. So
Perfect.
Mandy and Brandy do these weird platonic on the mouth kisses all summer long. And I don't like it.
Sure.
I don't like it one fucking bit. And the reason I don't like it is because I'm a closeted gay kid.
Right.
It upsets me.
Oh, really?
Because,
That's why. So interesting.
Yes.
Would have never expected.
But here's the thing. When you're a closet, this is such a weird, disjointed episode. I hope you guys are on board for this part of the story, this news story. When you watch girls make out for attention at parties when you're young, straight girls, or maybe they're bi-curious. I don't want to label anybody. But when that happens, I can't be a part of that. There's no girl who would ever make out with me for attention. Because if she made out with me, she's gay. Because everyone knows I'm gay. And I think I was just kind of mad that girls could just kiss each other and I couldn't kiss them. Yeah, that's it. Because I feel myself wanting to cry. So that, as I've learned from therapy, when I'm on to something, if I feel myself starting to cry, that's probably true. So I feel myself starting to cry. I wanted to do it and I couldn't, and I was jealous.
Yeah.
Wow, this has become an incredibly emotional.
What a breakthrough.
Huge breakthrough.
Huge.
Great episode. So glad you're here for this, Jaclyn. But then Mandy has been egging me on to just kiss her all summer. She's like, just kiss me. We kiss all the time. Mandy finally corners me in the tent and she's like, just freaking kiss me.
How old is Mandy?
We are all 16.
So Mandy's also a counselor. Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Yeah, we're counselors in training.
Sure. I wasn't sure if this was a bratty camper who's be aggressively attacking you. And so I was just
no,
I need to know what the context of this is before
just to be clear, a child has never tried to kiss me, so we don't have to address that today on the podcast.
Honestly, though, it seems like something only somebody a child who's tried to kiss would say. It's a denial that raises more questions.
Fine.
Sorry, no, I'm kidding.
Here's my apology. Here's my apology statement for the non-existent child who tried to kiss me. Dear We're Having Gay Sex listener, dear white people, I am so sorry about my actions and whatever harm. I wish I had music. I'll put music under this.
But this is all written on the notes app.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is written in the notes app.
On the notes app.
No, I'm so sorry. So you are in the cabin with fellow counselor Mandy, who is
and
bratty
others. Brandy is there being like, yeah, just kiss her. So I'm being peer pressured into platonically kissing Mandy. And she finally does. I will remember this moment so vividly because I'm so uncomfortable. I'm pinned against the wall, basically. She's like, just fucking do it.
A tent wall.
A tent wall. It's so it's
not really the strongest structure.
It's like a beam. I'm against a beam.
Got it.
And I was so fucking confused about how to kiss her because I had kissed girls. And I knew how to kiss, but I was like, oh, how do I kiss her like a friend would? Literally every possible thing is going through my head. She kisses me. It's not like an open mouth kiss or anything. And she pulls away and she goes, your lips are so soft. And I was like, I just froze. I didn't know what to say.
You're like, I'm not gay.
Right. But I am a fucking good kisser and you should know that. And yes, my lips are soft.
Right.
But also, I am not gay, and you are my friend. And also this is assault. And there are other people
Brandy,
around.
Brandy and Mandy doing the platonic like friend kiss thing. I don't know. I'm sure Brandy and Mandy are in therapy somewhere trying to figure out what that all meant.
Or
like,
Brandy and
I have
Mandy
no idea.
are queer at this point. Like, I feel like
I have no.
that as well. Sorry,
I
if
think
not,
they might just be
yeah.
like out in the world, like as queer ladies who look back on this being like, remember when we tried to tell people we platonically were kissing?
Right.
And actually we were
Right,
fucking
yeah.
in the bunk beds? Like,
Yeah, that was a totally healthy way to discover that we were queer.
yeah, exactly.
It was awful. It was awful.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Because I was just trying to be in that closet so hard.
Ugh.
I did not expect to get pulled out that way. You know, she was cute too. She was like really cute. So but I wasn't attracted to her because she was like mean. And so it was just a
Yeah.
very strange, it was just like the weirdest, it was so weird. It almost felt like being outed, but like not really. You know what I mean?
You know what I will say? Can I offer you a slight reframing? Like just
Sure.
like a
Does it have to
slight.
do with Molly's game?
No, it has nothing to do with Molly's Game. I've never
Okay.
heard of that movie. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I will say I was so worried when you were telling that story and you said she stepped back and you were building up to what she said. But the fact that she said your lips are so soft, that felt like the real Mandy and or Brandy, whichever one it was, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that feels like a moment where like even if she was mean and dealing with that thing that's like you feel ashamed and so you're like
Yeah.
projecting it out by being mean. Like the fact that in that moment she didn't mock you but instead like kind of gave you like a tender compliment with people watching is like I think actually pretty revealing about like what was going on inside her
Yeah.
process. And I can't speak to the
Yeah.
other people, but like that's a very tender thing for a 16-year-old to say to another 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is like your lips are so soft.
You're so right, because I had never, a girl had never like spoken to me like that, even though I
Yeah.
had been hooking up with girls. Like I never, especially in public. This
Yeah.
happened in front of other people in public. We're in a dark tent in the woods.
We were in Times Square, basically.
But it feels that way. So that is my gay sex not repeat story from this week.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I love it. What a
Um,
journey.
Thank you.
Truly.
Jaclyn, did you have gay sex this week?
I did not have gay sex this week, although I feel like I've had like interesting realizations lately about gay sex.
Okay.
I've had a lot of gay sex in my life.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very honored to have been such a whore. And I say that both literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Right.
But I think one of the things I've realized that's interesting is that since coming out as trans, which I've known for a long, long time, but never thought I would do anything about, it's sort of been this revelation. Pronouns will get funky here for a second just because of it'll become clear. But I had been the only guy that many of my lesbian friends had slept with. And like in hindsight, it's like,
Right.
oh, that's because I was a girl. And like
Right.
and they would always say
Right.
things like, you don't, like, it just feels like, like I've had sex with, or it would be like somebody who like had sex with guys like when they were young and then is like hardcore lesbian now. And then like we would go out and drink and she'd be like, do you want to come over? And I'd be like, I guess, but I'm very confused about what's happening.
I have a bunch
Right.
of men that I need to text and be like, I have some information about you, because the amount of men who tell me that they are the dude that lesbians sleep with. I know so many guys like this.
It wasn't a thing where I was like out chasing lesbians. It was just, I had a lot of very close lesbian friends. Have
Yeah.
a lot still, obviously. But like, again, I am a slutty person and I'm somebody who like sex is I know like touch is the love language, but I think sex is a love language where it's just
Yeah,
like,
right.
I've had sex with a lot of my friends where it's just like, yeah, that's how we are friends. And like, that's something that maybe happened once or maybe happens occasionally, but like part of a friendship.
Yeah.
But yes, it like happened with numerous women with numerous lesbians where they would say, I like don't know what it is. It's just like very different. And it's just, I don't feel like I'm having sex with a guy. And for whatever reason, during that time, I never had the thought of like, this really dovetails with a lot of my gender questioning. Like I was just like, I guess I'm like sensitive. I guess I'm empathetic and that comes across.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been like a real interesting kind of eye opener this week. And when I came out, the number of people who like wrote to me being like, honestly, I'm so glad because this makes my life way simpler. Like for a long time, you were an outlier that like raised more questions than it answered. And like now,
Sure, yeah.
question answered, makes sense. We're good. Like,
right. Yeah. You had people like going through like identity crises and then like being like, oh, yeah.
oh my God.
Truly, I mean,
Yeah.
like, you hear these stories, and first of all, you hear them way more from men than from lesbians. I hear there is a disproportionate amount of men telling me that they have slept with lesbians and lesbians telling me they've slept with one man. I don't know where the math is wrong, but someone's not telling the truth.
It's like I would argue it's probably like a 20% lie on both sides. Well, maybe like a 50% lie on the guy side. And like, there's definitely a thing where like my lesbian friends I know who have had sex with men and who like, that's like a shame. Where it's just like,
yeah,
I don't want to talk about it, but I was like horny and I made it happen. But the guys want to brag about it.
Deeply confusing. If that happened to me, I'd be fucked up. I wouldn't tell anybody. It could have happened to me. You'd have no idea. I'd take that shit to the grave.
Right. Would not be a repeat story. You'd be like, I know I didn't tell that story.
Wow.
So when you came out, did you feel like your sex kind of like changed? Do you feel like it like kind of got better for you because you were euphoric, or like, I don't know your euphoria journey, but like, did you feel like that kind of changed?
It did. It's interesting because I've always been bisexual and I've always been very switchy and I've always been very like, again, like, and I know I keep talking about it, but like sex work was a huge part of my life.
No, please talk about it because people request sex workers all the time.
It's such like a people pleasing job. Like that's such a big part of it that like just informed a lot of how I became.
Literally.
Yeah. I was literally, yeah, exactly. And so it like informed a lot of how I became sexually just in my personal life, where it was like, I was sort of down to fulfill whatever the other person, like their thing was. And so a lot of times I felt very like, whenever the attention was on me in any way, I would feel much more like uncomfortable unless it was explicitly part of what they needed. Like if it was just somebody being like, no, like it's your turn. I'd be like, no, I'm good. Like we don't have to do that. Like it's good. But now I will say that like I am feeling much more in my body in those moments and much more like I don't like dissociate the way that I feel like I did for a long time. When stuff like that would happen. And then I would say the other thing that's just like interesting, I don't know how graphic is okay on this.
Literally have an episode that's about to come out about like literally putting my pussy in my girlfriend's face and how much she enjoys it.
I mean, first off, yeah, that's a classic of the show. So good on both of you. Since I've been on hormones for about 3 months, and they're crazy. Like my boobs are growing and it's weird. And it like, like they're definitely at that like weird, like early teenage vibes where you're like I remember like they're like the first pair of boobs I saw when I was like 13 and would be at like a sleepover. And then like the neighbor girls would be at a sleepover and we'd all like sneak out and go to like someone's backyard and play like truth or dare. And it's like, though, were you like the first time I saw boobs basically in real life.
Right.
And but that's where it's at, where you're like, even as you see it, you're like, oh, it's not done. Like this is this
for
is
sure.
in process.
No,
work in progress.
Like like going to Walmart with your mom and they're like, your mom's like, can I get this one? You're like, Mom, stop.
Yes,
God.
exactly. And so
like you don't want to have boobs, but you're like, I
feel like that stage of my life was like so short. Short.
I hope mine is short. I want them to start. They're like right between like what people would derisively call man boobs and like becoming regular boobs. Like they're on their own journey.
Regular.
Transitioning. And I would really love it to just like, let's go.
Sure, yeah.
But so that's happening and like very sensitive, very painful. Like, I've definitely started to wear like with certain clothing, having to wear like bralettes and stuff just because I'm like nips out all the time. Which also I like as a vibe, but like it feels very aggressive for like month 3 of this journey to be like, I'm already at the nips out phase. But then the other part of it is that the feminization of the penis is like a very weird process.
Yeah.
And it like is definitely shrinking, and it is softer. Like the actual texture is very different. And it like feels slightly different to like have sex, any sort of
Yeah.
sex. And like that's a very surreal experience to just to feel like a body that you've lived in for, I'm 32, like to feel like a body that you've lived in for so many years is suddenly, it feels like your body's a science experiment. And the parts of
Yeah.
your body that you were most familiar with, because like, obvious reasons, are like suddenly sort of somebody else's body, like on yours. And
Yeah.
it's been like a really, eye-opening and emotional. I mean, also like hormones are a monster, and I'm like bawling uncontrollably a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a very like profound and odd and strange experience that I do feel like is changing how I'm approaching and having sex. And when I do have sex in ways that are more, when I am topping or something, where it's
Hmm.
more akin to what, like I was never just like having hetero sex, but like when I would have sex with women before, even that feels like, oh, this doesn't feel, there's like a different energy to it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish I
Yeah.
had more concrete words for
No,
it, because I
Jaclyn,
don't
that
think,
was like, thank
You,
you for answering my
yeah, no,
question.
that was awesome, and I learned a
Yeah,
lot, and
thank
I have like
you.
follow up questions, but you've already been here an hour because I've told two stories.
no,
But I think
I take it. Also, I'm here for however long you need, and you can edit it how you want
cool,
later.
great.
So
Let's record 2 episodes. But of course, people don't have the words because like taking out the trans identity and the hormones and things changing for you, people don't have words for lesbian sex. Period. So, genitals mushing up no matter what they look like. There's no real great we have tribbing, but there's no real great terms for the
yeah,
types
Yeah.
of sex that we have. So, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine throwing in your new junk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like that new junk smell.
It's
But
got
I
weirdly, like that's the other thing. My pheromones are totally different for the first time ever. Like I
Yeah.
smell fundamentally different. Like when I sweat, my
Whoa.
sweat smells different.
I love
Like
girl sweat.
when I go for a run, sorry, this is like very gross maybe, but like
No, this is
No,
it's
amazing.
I
actually
love
something I
it.
kind of like really do feel sort of passionately about, is that I have so many wonderful trans friends. Laverne Cox and I are friends going back to like New York before she was famous. Like we just both were like
Wow.
That's so cool.
people in New York at the same time not being famous or successful. And
Yeah.
Whoa.
but she's, from the day I met Laverne, was a knockout. Like she was already like the hottest woman I'd ever met,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
and so many of my trans lady friends, there's not a lot of talk about like the weird, awkward beginning stage,
Right.
especially if you're not doing it when you're like 21 or
Yeah.
15 or whatever. Like I feel like there's not a lot of talk of like I had a fully grown male body that is now trying to reverse engineer itself, and like
Yeah.
it's not always super successful at it, and there are things that like I need to change with doctors and be like, all right, can we try this thing? And it's like I looked around and I didn't feel like I was seeing like transition pic, like all I would see are these beautiful trans timelines that
Yeah.
made me feel like I'm never going to be that. Like I'm
Yeah.
always going to look like a boy in a dress, and like I'm
Yeah.
never going to get to that point where like I look in the mirror and just truly feel like, oh my god, like I don't, like that I don't have a, that's good for a, like sort of vibe.
Mm. Mm.
And
Yeah.
so I feel really, I don't, sorry, I'm getting emotional.
I know, me too.
I feel really passionately about kind of trying to document and share some of the stuff. Like I have a nudes account on Twitter. Like anybody who listens to this and is interested, like hit me up. My regular DMs are open. I'll give you it, but it's like protected, so I can like kind of control who sees it. But it's just it's like literally me like documenting my body and like figuring out how to be sexy as a woman, and like
Yeah.
what I feel good at, and what feels good and what feels bad. And part of it's because it's like it's not there yet. Like it's very much a work in progress. And I look around and I feel like I never see works in progress. I see these finished
Yeah.
portraits that make me feel
Yes.
like I'm never going to be there. And so
finished portraits that took a lot of money, that typically have a lot more privilege. You know, we talk about that. We had Robin Tran on. I don't know if you know her. She's a great stand-up comedian. She's trans. And another, if you're a trans listener, great one to go and listen back to. There are these absurd standards of passing. And you know, this is much more Gara's topic than mine, but it's...
Why would you say that? I'm like, so interesting.
But it's not... Gosh, like any part of coming out is a process. God, I'm still figuring out what kind of girl I am and how to feel sexy as like the gay version of myself. So I don't know. I think the in-between part should be celebrated.
Yeah. I think also the internet does not allow really for anything other than perfection. I mean, like Instagram is like absolutely, I mean, me for one, like watching a lot of my trans friends during quarantine get top surgery was like kind of hard to like watch that happen. And I was very happy for all of them and was like,
nah, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them for not realizing that you weren't having it yet. Should have done it all at the same time.
Those selfish bastards. See, what's nice is I can gender affirm them while also tearing them down. And that's what we call unity.
Right. But I think about a lot and like have been working it out in therapy, but like, Jaclyn, you're great. And I am now officially going to get top surgery. And
you heard it here first like, on the podcast. Gara is crying because they are letting us know that they are, for the clickbait, for the internet. The internet knows that Gara is. We will have it in here.
Oh my God! I'm so
Gara is
so
getting
happy
top
for you.
Surgery.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So wonderful.
Did you just decide right now?
Well, No, I decided for the clickbait, Ashley. I was like, Ashley really needs this. I really need it. I would really love some new followers. But no, I just, Jaclyn, hearing you speak, I was just like, I have been telling a lot of people in my life, and again, maybe tomorrow I'll be like, you got to get rid of that part. But I just want to tell you and tell everyone here that I am, and it's hard to watch people post about it because in quarantine, I don't really make, like I'm with a few people, but that's it. But watching them post about it and just being like, it looks so easy. It looks like you did it and it looks so easy. And why can't it be that easy? Because it's not that easy.
It's so, first off, congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
And like, that is such a delightful, like, you deserve that. It's really hard. It's hard to not feel selfish and I know my therapist would say, it doesn't matter that there are people who have it worse than you. That doesn't invalidate your problems, which I get. And I haven't always had it easy. I wasn't doing sex work just for fun. Like I needed to live, like pay for school. I've been really struggling with the fact that like, I feel like for a long time, like one, it took me a long time to learn how to be cute as a guy. And I feel like I figured it out. Like, I feel like I figured it out to like some extent, but I was 18 when I started turning tricks and like escorting and making pretty good money doing it. And it was super validating that like these wealthy people would like pay money because they thought my body was like worth that. It gave me this sensation that became part of my identity, was that I really liked being a sexual object of desire. And transitioning has been very hard because it feels like beyond giving up so many other things and like going through, turfs and family not handling it great and, all of these other things, it's like, I feel like I gave up this one part of my identity that actually like meant a lot to me and was like good, bad, and different, like a real thing. And I'm desperately trying to like figure out how to be, and like, look, I'm still confident. Like, I think I pull shit off. And like right now I can be hot in like a gender fucky way. And that's super fun. I love that in other people, but it's like, when that's not what it's like, I know I don't want to be hot in a gender fucky way. I want to be sexually attractive as like a lady. Yep. I want to be, and I want to like have the surgeries and do all the things. And then just to know that like, it's going to cost you a ton of money because almost nothing's covered. And Hormones will get you some of the way. Maybe, we don't know. It's a mystery, but
Right.
Yeah.
we'll find out in 2 years, and then maybe we can talk. It's just, um, it's a demoralizing process. And I think
Yeah.
having a culture that's mostly focused on the results, and I'm not saying trans timelines are bad. I love them. They're inspiring. They make me cry. But I feel like when that's the only version of trans identity on the internet you're seeing is like that, or like TERFs weaponizing people's early transition photos. It's just like there
Right.
needs to be like a middle ground of like, yeah, it's
Right.
messy. Like it's super fucking
Right.
complicated and messy.
Can you clarify
Yeah.
that? Just because I don't even know what that is. TERFs
What,
weaponizing.
so TERFs are trans exclusive
know.
radical feminists.
Yes, for the listener, yeah. Gara
Yeah.
jokes that I'm a TERF all the time.
No,
So
I didn't say, Jaclyn, my joke, no.
Gara
you know what my joke
genuinely
is.
thinks that I'm a TERF, and
No.
that is exactly what Gara thinks.
No, let
Gara
me actually,
sincerely
my
called
joke
me a
is,
TERF.
my joke is, I said it's very brave of Ashley to present as a TERF, but not actually be one.
All right, that's very funny, actually. That's a good,
Thank you.
That's a really good joke.
I'm a lesbian with long hair. What can I say?
Yeah, so you know what? This is, it's not your fault. This is
No,
just
it's
how
not
you
your fault.
are.
It's okay.
No,
I'll
I,
live. I'll get through it.
I think part of it for me was always feeling like the ugly duckling when I was a kid, and like I was like I'm very tall. I'm 6'4". So funny. I went from being like,
So desirable as a man. So
I know,
desirable.
I know, and now I'm like, oh, I wish I could shrink. So I was like 6'4" as a guy from the time I was like 12, but I
Wow.
was like 140 pounds. Like I was like so skinny, like very gangly and awkward.
Mhm.
My ears are big, but my head was smaller at the time. Like my ears have always been the same size, but my head was much smaller when I was
Gara's
younger.
just dreaming about Jacob right now. Gara's just like, I love my boyfriend so much.
No.
Aw. But so I always felt like not attractive at all. And then
Yeah.
when I got to college at NYU, where I started doing sex work, like the first week I was there,
Whoa.
yeah, I answered an ad on Craigslist for adult work for a bartender, but it was in adult work. So I was like, something's up
And
with
what
this.
was it?
So it
what
was.
did end up happening?
So I got a job interview. Very exciting. And I went to this, it was in like Herald Square across from Macy's, in like this like kind of abandoned office building. And I went to like one of the suites where they said to go for the meeting. And I get there, and this like gross dude opens the door, just like sweaty and like unkempt, and the office behind him looks like the after of like a Wolf of Wall Street SEC raid. Like it looks like the SEC has come in and tossed computers and
Right,
Yeah.
right.
like there's fax paper everywhere. Like it just looks like a disaster. And like meanwhile he has like one desk in the corner that like is set up for him. And he like calls me over and he's like, so this is to bartend at these gay sex parties that I host around the city. But you have to be okay being naked while you do it, and you have to. People tip at the door. Typically, there's a big tip jar at the door, and we split tips with everybody working. But you're gonna have to participate in some way if you want your tips.
Whoa.
And he's like, and that's the job. But like, would you be okay with that? I was like, yeah, of course. Because also I'm like a closeted queer kid who was like had just like discovered the glory hole at Excellent DVD on 13th Street and 6th Avenue,
Yeah.
like during Welcome Week, and I was like, oh my god, all the dick you can suck, what a dream!
Welcome.
New York, New York. It truly is a visitor's place. And so he was like, are you gonna be okay with that? And I was like, yes, I would love. Sounds great. And then he made me give him a blowjob right there. He like took his dick out, gave him a blowjob. He like took naked photos of me, but I got the job. So who took advantage of who? I mean, like I think that's the
I
real
was about to say,
question.
wait, you didn't even have the job yet?
Didn't have the
So
job
it's
yet.
It's an audition. It's an audition
It was
blowjob.
it was like it was a go see for a bartending at a gay sex party
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
And you know, which I think is just standard in the industry.
Okay.
And no, but I got the job.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. So I was for sure taken advantage of. But I was also like happy to be taken advantage of. Like, enjoyed it thoroughly. Like, would do it again, 10 out of 10. I wish he wasn't so gross. But like, other than that, like, very, very fun power dynamics at play. So I got the job. I like started going to these gay sex parties where I would like wear a jockstrap and like fuck dudes at them and like get a small piece of the door or of the tip jar at the door. And I wouldn't make good money really, but it was fun. And it's like, I probably would have wanted to go to the parties if I wasn't working at the parties.
Yeah.
And then, but I was like 18 and older men started to approach me and just be like, I'd love to take you to dinner. And then like, there was no dinner, or I was dinner, depending on your definitions of dinner. And, but I started making really good money that way. And so I started having these older clients and they would tell their friends, and kind of my whole hook was that I was bisexual, and like very openly bisexual. Cause then people would play out their fantasies of like the guy on the football team and I could present pretty mask when I wanted to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then that just led to me like being on Rent Boy, RIP, a website that was shut down by our fucking corrupt government that doesn't understand the difference between sex work and trafficking. But did that for like a number of years. And, because I was bi, I started to have some couple clients, which was nice, where it would be like a guy and a lady who were married and maybe he was curious, and it was like a good way to ease in. I was like a safe person to like, like we could just have a threesome that got a little crazy, like whatever.
Yeah.
I did that for many, many, many years, and I truly loved it. Had some scary times, for sure, some scary moments. So yeah, that's sort of my sex work spiel.
Thank you.
I started to be more open about it when Sesta Fosta passed, because when Sesta Fosta passed, what was it, like 3 years ago now, 2 years ago, it like really, like there's been such an uptick in violence, and it's made it such a less safe thing to do. And you have these, it's just like a real fucked up situation. And so I sort of felt like I owed it to that community that I was a part of for so long. There are so many people I know who have done this job who are just doctors and lawyers now, and like nobody fucking knows, because like why would you tell people like, yes, I'm a member of a group. It's an invisible group that you don't have to take ownership of when you're not literally doing it, and it's a group that is reviled by so many people and just like hated. Which really was a great preparation for coming out as trans. So many years being a hated person. But I don't know, sorry. I feel like I'm rambling now.
No,
you're
Jaclyn,
so fine.
thank you
this
for
is
talking
really
about
fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think with sex work, like it's so important to talk about it because it's work. It's like real work that real people do, and talking more about it, like, and more about Sasta Festa.
Sesta Fosta. That bullshit, yes.
Yeah, that thing. Talking about it like gets people like Googling it and learning about it and like understanding what like the government did to really endanger so many lives of so many people.
It's just like anything else. Talking about it is really, really important. So thank you. Back to Molly's game. I think but yeah, let's round this out. Gara, did you have gay sex this week?
Did not have gay sex. I'm going to tell a story that I'm really hoping I've not repeated. Really, really hoping.
Oh
I'm not
shit,
even
Jaclyn,
kidding.
you know what I just realized? That whole thing, another guest did that. We actually had that entire...
I knew it!
Yeah, I was repeating.
I'm so sorry.
And this story is from like 2 or 3 years ago. This is actually the first time I ever went to Cubbyhole. So like 3 years ago, I was like, had just moved to New York and was taken on as like a baby lamb, like a little lost lamb by these like 3 older like comedian dykes. They were very kind and were just like put me in their pocket and like led me around and like showed me things I'd never seen.
Lesbian Aladdin.
Yes. I can show you the gays. But anyway, so they were like, we have to go to Cubbyhole. And I was like, what the fuck is Cubbyhole? And we, when I had just started dating, I was like 6 months in dating Jacob. I was not in an open relationship yet, totally monogamous. And we had gone out to Cubbyhole. And we had to wait in line because like Cubbyhole, you always wait in a line to get in a Cubbyhole. Because I am not kidding for anyone who doesn't live in New York.
I have
it
not
is a
once.
Cubbyhole hole.
I've never I don't know if it's just my gay energy coming down the block, but I've never had to wait in line to go into
I actually
Cubbyhole.
was just going to say, I don't think I've ever waited in line at Cubbyhole either.
Wow, okay. Maybe I'm just making that up. You're like, you'll have to wait in line.
But you know what? There are fewer lesbian bars in New York today than there were when I was going to Cubbyhole. So
That's
Cubbyhole is
true.
going to be fucking packed when this is all over.
Yeah, holy shit. You're going to have to like sign up on a wait list.
Nah, they're just going to let me in.
Yeah, right. They're like, you Ashley Gavin. You told that story 5 fucking times.
Don't walk through our window.
So we're waiting in line at Cubbyhole. I cannot stress it enough. It is teeny tiny. There's like a big bar on one side and like a little bit of a walkway and like a tiny like place in the back and like a jukebox. Should I just describe the whole place? And two restrooms and things hanging from the ceiling.
I mean, it's basically a dive bar. It's like a normal dive bar. It looks like every dive bar.
But you're new to the podcast. This is just what happens when Gara tells a story. We get every piece of furniture. We get the weather report. We get a description of all the different gays and the sizes, shapes, and colors.
Sure, yeah. And the smell, it was kind of a mixture of like Marlboro Red, like cinnamon. But anyway, so we get inside and I'm just like, I am young little baby, like queer fetus. Like I am like barely out of the womb.
Is quetus a thing?
Quetus. Quetus, it is now.
I was a quetus.
They can do a test. They can do a test to find out whether or not you're a fetus or a quetus. They take some of that amniotic fluid.
No.
Then you can, if you don't, because queer babies only. Sorry.
Anyway.
I'm aborting my straight child is what I'm trying to say. That is the darkest joke I've made on this podcast.
That was good. I'm really glad that you clarified that. Anyway, I get inside and they're kind of like giving me the lowdown of like how to kind of like dance with girls. And they were like, it's pretty difficult, Gara. Like it doesn't happen for everyone like the first time. And again, I'm in a monogamous relationship and I'm like telling them like, that's okay. I'm monog. I only want to dance with people and that's all I want to do. And this girl comes up to me and we get to talking and she had some cool tattoos. I was like, I like your tattoos. And she goes, do you have any tattoos? And at that point I had one tattoo. Now I have 7. Thank you very much. I had one tattoo and Jacob gave it to me, a stick and poke of a pair of scissors on my ass, just like on my ass cheek.
Shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
That is so gay and I love it.
I got it with my best friend who I was in love with in high school. So even gayer. But anyway, so it was on my ass and she was like, do you have any tattoos? I was like, yeah, I do, but it's like on my butt. And she was like, show me. I was like, what?
I wonder if this girl knew what she was doing.
Oh yeah.
Of course she did.
Who can know if she saw this baby lamb struggling in the field below?
It's like my big cartoonish eyes just being like, my butt? You want to see my butt? Okay.
Platonically, right? Because I'm monog.
Right. I was like, platonically, I'll pull down my pants. So I like pulled out a butt cheek and like showed it to her and she touched it with her finger. Like she touched my butt with her pointer finger. And I was like, I don't know if this is platonic or not, but I'm feeling pretty good right now. And like, meanwhile,
damn, she was giving you a sample of the goods right there. Giving you a little one finger poke on the.
No, I was like, that's all I need. I was like, I'm going home.
Your ass was like a melon in the grocery store. Like she just needed to like check its ripeness. Yes, this is a good one.
Yeah. And anyway, so I'm like watching like my lesbian elders across the room, just like giving me the head nod of like, you're doing good. You're doing good, son.
Well, yeah, if your ass is out of your fucking pants, you're doing a pretty good job.
I was like, is this it? Is this lesbian sex? But anyway, so I pull my little big boy pants back up and I'm like, okay. Like I'm kind of getting in it. I'm feeling like a little bit like I'm texting Jacob. I'm like, are you okay? And I was like, damn, I don't know if I should have done that. Like she touched my butt. I was like, was that cheating? Oh my God. And I was just like feeling really bad. Hold on. And so we kind of like start dancing. And I guess that night, maybe like maybe like Nicholas Sparks book club had just gotten out like 2 blocks away, because it was just like 40-year-old like white women just like ridden with them. Like it was just
I love my Nicholas Sparks book club. It's called Sparks for Turfs and Turfs for Sparks.
Good.
And we go to Cubbyhole.
Actually.
We go to Cubbyhole after every meeting.
So they're kind of like dancing, and I'm a good dancer, so I'm like that's my thing. Like that's my love language is dancing. And so I'm like kind of dancing, and I like make eyes with like this gorgeous woman who's like definitely
different, not the ass poker.
Not the ass poker.
We've moved on from ass poker. This is you were in these streets.
Yeah. I also would like to say on the pod, just so everyone knows, I'm very attracted to older women. That is
you just tipped your hat before you said that. Gara, you just tipped your hat. There we go.
Yeah, that's what I did to her. I said, "Milady," and she was like, "Why is this child talking to me?"
And then she was like, "You should do my podcast."
Your pickup line is you go up to women and just say, "Do you remember the Reagan administration?"
Milady.
I do not. So anyway, so like we're dancing. I'm like, this woman is like, she's very hot. She was like, again, like probably like early 40s, and we're like dancing together, and my like lesbian elders behind me are like this is great, like this is good. And in my head I'm like I want to make out with this woman, like I really want to make out with this woman. And I was like, fuck, I really want to make out with this woman. And like we're like dancing, and then I just like pulled away. I was like, I gotta go home. And I like basically just like, guys, I'm leaving.
I'm glad that's the end of the story.
I'm kind of disappointed for you.
I know Jacob.
He's very sweet. But anyway, so I get home. I went to Jacob's place, and I got home, and I was kind of just like feeling weird. And then we went to bed, and we woke up, and I was like, I have to tell you this. And I told him exactly what happened. And I was like, I wanted to kiss this woman. I did. And we spent the whole day.
This is
kind of just like, just like talking about it, like not even like fighting. It was like in Jacob's room, then at a coffee shop, then at a McDonald's, then we were on the subway, like just like changing locations, and each location are just like, well, what does this mean for a relationship? What do you want? And I was kind of like, I don't want to cheat on you, but I also know that this is something that I want. And basically by the end of the day, we had decided that we should break up. And honestly, the breakup lasted for like a week. And after that, and we ended up seeing each other every day.
All breakups take 2 takes.
That's very true.
There's no single take breakup. We're still working on the
second one, so.
No director has been like, we got it. It's over. What actor does the single take breakup?
Yeah, you gotta like sob at Pier 40. You gotta like somehow have like a weird fight in Tribeca. Like you have to do all the things. But anyway, we like broke up for like a hot second. And the whole time just like talking and just like trying to figure out like what any of this meant. It took so much talking. I don't think I've talked for so long in my life. Like it was just talking about everything, about like what I wanted, what he wanted, me being like, honestly, this sucks, but this is my deal breaker. I have to be open. And then ultimately us 3 years later in an open relationship doing pretty okay. I know this didn't end funny, but I think
it's hilarious. That's so funny.
And then I went back to the Nicholas Sparks book club, and I burst through the door, and I picked up Jennifer and was like, let's go, baby. Back to my Razor scooter, and then we rode off into the sunset.
She's on your back like a backpack, and you're scooting down.
Yeah, what were those shoes that like had like roller skates built into them?
Heelys.
Yeah, you just heelied into the gay bar.
Yeah, right. It's like, is this someone's kid? Like I'm here for Jennifer. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's my story.
It's a good story.
What an epic episode we have today. Jaclyn, where can people find you? Like, what are your handles? What are you working on? Like, what's all that?
Sure. People can find me on Twitter at Jaclyn P. Moore, Jaclyn.
Actually, I don't think I'm following you on Twitter, so I'll follow you right now.
Yeah, let's do it. Jaclyn P. Moore, Jaclyn P. More More, and then same on all the things. That's also the Instagram. And then what I'm working on, we're in post for season 4, the final season of Dear White People. It's very good. If I do say so myself, I think people will like it. So hopefully that'll be coming out sometime this year. And then the other stuff I'm working on, this is fun, is under NDA, so I'm not allowed to talk.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best stuff.
I know.
That's the
It just
best
like
stuff,
feels,
even if it's
it's
bad.
great too, because it's like, even if it's a piece of shit, it's just like,
Yeah.
sorry, I can't even talk about it.
I can't.
Kind of a
My
big deal,
manager,
like,
my
no big deal.
agent, everyone would freak out. The press would get a hold of it. We can't even talk about it. It's just too
Yeah, I just like had to sign a lot of stuff, and I just, I don't want to be sued by these big corporations. So, but no, thank you all so much. I truly like, all three of you are just so wonderful, and like, please don't be strangers. Like, let's be friends in real life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I'd love to get to know all of you better. You're all great. So, thank you so much.
Coming in hot with a gay thought. I like this gay thought. I've been writing a lot of comedy. Thank you again for the Patreon donations that were able to help me hire an editor, because now I'm writing comedy and I'm working on a new bit and I love it so much. So here's my gay thought today. I went on a boat with a bunch of mostly straight kind of basic people for a birthday, and a lot of weird things were said to me as the only gay person there. But something that gets said a lot, especially I find from straight men, is a sort of biphobic thing that I hear a lot about girls who, have maybe mostly been with men, but like, some guy will be like, yeah, but she's like, what? She fingered a girl in college? You're not like really bi. And that is so invalidating for a lot of reasons, because I think we all understand why bi people historically have frequently ended up with straight people. It's because of homophobia and biphobia, right? So it's problematic for that reason. But it's also problematic because, okay, yeah, she only got fingered by like one lesbian in college, but I'm that lesbian. Don't bring me into this, okay? Don't invalidate her and then therefore invalidate me. Give me the credit that I deserve for fingering that bi girl in college, okay? This is not only biphobic, it's homophobic. I just want everyone to feel valid, and all of the gays fingering those people. That was a wild ride. I hope that made sense. I hope what I'm trying to say is it can be applied to all different types of folks, non-binary folks, pan folks. I hope it makes sense to you. But doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many, you know me. I don't care. You don't have to have sex with anybody to be a certain type of person. You can be gay and never fuck, and you're still fucking gay, bro. All right, so let's do some Patreon shout-outs. On Instagram, we have Liv_does yoga. On Instagram, we have Julieta_M_Ortiz. On Instagram, we have Stace_place. On Instagram, we have Sid with a Y. On Instagram, we have Kells_VMJ. On Instagram, we have It's Me, Aaron Weber. On Twitter, we have Pansexual Ant. On TikTok, we have B__Rose. On TikTok, we have Ritzy Titsy. On Instagram, we have It's Chardonnay Buble. That's good. On TikTok, we have Alexa.M4444. On Instagram, we have Menchakalaka. Menchakalaka. On Instagram, we have Noah Gutterman _ no H in that Noah. On Instagram, we have Alexandra_Jordan222. On Instagram, we have Kimmy.FLM. On Instagram, we have KAY83CRYS. On Instagram, we have Sarah _ha, or Sarah with an H. Okay. On TikTok, we have It Do Be Cat. On Twitter, we have Tori Merlot, and on Instagram, we have Catherine Thompson. Thank you so much for all these new donations. There are so many coming in. I am catching up on these shout outs. You will get yours. Make sure to take the survey. Patreon.com/WHGS. And then this is just an epically long episode, so I'll just say this here. But I'm also really grateful for all the kind notes that have been coming in. You guys are an incredibly supportive group of people, and they just keep flooding in, and I'm so grateful for your role in my life. All right. Have a great week, guys.